Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. For this video, I wanted to talk about my biggest tip and probably a mistake that I've done over the last 2.5 years that I've been stacking and collecting precious metals. And I wanted to discuss it in today's video because it may be of help to someone. It might help someone that's considering stacking precious metals, gold and silver, and you can perhaps avoid the mistakes that some of us do. I've definitely done it in the past, and I'm going to address it in this video. So just to try and get straight to the point with it, is going to be spending too much money on gold and silver. Everyone has a budget. Everyone's got different budgets when it comes to purchasing precious metals. Ultimately, gold is sitting nearly around £1,900, I think, so 2,200 US dollars. And silver has come down. I think it's sitting around £22 at the moment. And it's expensive. It does get very expensive and it gets very addicting. One of the things that you really need to consider is your budget. And I know I've done it in the past and I'm guilty of it when it comes to purchasing gold and silver, and it's setting a budget sort of each month to buy different products, whether it be collectible or if you're stacking to as close to spot as possible, whatever it may be. But in my experience from buying it, and I've only really been doing this channel since, I think 2.5 years now, I think we've been going, but the biggest thing that I have seen, especially with new people that does get into precious metals, is buying too much too soon. Now, the trouble is when you do that, especially at highs and seeing videos like silver's going to rocket to the moon and things like that, you have to be very careful. You don't want to get hooked into the magical wonderland of silver's going to hit, I don't know, well over $100 an ounce within the next year. And so you just got to be very, very careful with it. Now, when it comes to creating content on YouTube with gold and silver, there's only so much you can talk about. And, even I think this is my 400th video, and I wanted to be something that was important and everything, but obviously I didn't want to bore you to death because I'm sure I'm stating the obvious when it comes to spending too much money on gold and silver. But I do see, especially new people that do come into the hobby, and in my view, it's more of a hobby for me rather than an investment, mainly with silver, but it can do well as an investment on certain pieces, but it's buying too much too soon. And I think that, when you go down the rabbit hole of buying your first silver ounce coin and then just buying as much as you can as close to spot, you'll find your funds run down quite low if you are just the average sort of worker, and you might not have enough to cover emergencies and things like that. Now, I'm not a financial advisor at all, and you could really just say, well, do one. I'm going to do what I want anyway, and your choice. From me especially, I can only talk about with what I've seen and experienced. And I have seen people that have spent too much money on silver and gold too soon. Now, gold's not too bad. Gold has obviously gone up recently, hitting pretty much all-time highs. I think the all-time high is 1954, so just under £2,000, and it's going to surpass it. Gold does well compared to silver anyway, and silver is something that I do think is undervalued, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of it's going to hit $100 so fast and everything. So you just got to be really careful with it. So if you are going to take anything from today's video, it's really, if you are a new stacker and you've been watching these videos and you've been watching other videos, then just be mindful about what you're buying and how much you're spending. By all means, it's a great hobby. I love collecting gold and silver, and ultimately you are saving money to a degree, in my view anyway. Gold and silver can be easily converted back to cash. If you take it to a local coin shop or you sell it privately, you can convert it back. It doesn't mean that it's worthless, because that's a great thing about it. But the only thing that you don't want to do is, let's say you're new to stacking and you do what I did and you buy, I don't know, some silver from, let's say, the Royal Mint, and then you sell it in the short term. Precious metals is a long-term thing. if you spend too much too soon, you might find yourself selling it or some of it and actually losing out a lot more than perhaps what you would have sat on if you just saved fiat. But that's a whole nother story. The point of the video I'm trying to make is just stick to what you can within budget. Of course, you know, you can make your own decisions, but I did want to highlight the fact of gold and silver is not a fantasy wonderland when it comes to, you know, it's all going to go up and shoot to the moon, because you just have to be really responsible with it as well. But I hope this was helpful. And if you are new to stacking and you enjoy this content, then please leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. And I'd love to hear your comments when it comes to, have you seen, or maybe you've experienced it yourself, selling in the short term? I definitely have. I've sold certain pieces in the short term and I've lost money. And I'm happy to admit that, because ultimately you do learn from your mistakes. But I just wanted to pass that on, you know, especially from what I've seen only the last 2.5 years of stacking. You've got to be very careful, that's for sure. But I hope it was helpful. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts, and I'll see you in the very next video.